In this module, we're going to talk about creating a vision. As an objective, by the end of this module, you should have learned how to create a picture of the future that sets a direction for your project or your team or your organization for the future and motivates others to participate. Let's get started. The most important thing to remember when you're thinking about creating a vision is to articulate a picture of the future that clarifies where you want to go. And you need to get people behind it, so this vision also must motivate people to take action to actually make that vision a reality. So a vision needs to be compelling. If you're starting a project, you're moving into a leadership role, or you need to refocus your team or you're refocusing your organization, a vision statement can be a powerful tool for you. It's a description of what you want your project or your organization to look like in the future. It's an articulation of a dream. A vision is emotionally engaging, or it should be compelling for others so that they want to participate. And it also should create a framework for the actions that will ultimately achieve that vision. It can be a powerful advantage for you as well because it can set the direction for your team, it can clarify purpose for people, it makes it easier for you to communicate to stakeholders about what you're trying to accomplish, it can energize and inspire your team members, and it really can foster creativity and productivity for people. Now, when you're starting to build your vision, you want to think of the change that you want to make in your team or in your organization or in your project, and you want to paint that picture, what it looks like, what it tastes like, what it smells like, what is actually happening, how do things feel, how do you feel? And you should write it down. Now, it's really easy to get into a mindset that you're going to do all this yourself, but you're going to miss a lot of opportunity if you don't get buy-in from your team and the people who are going to help you create this. So ideally, you should involve the people that need to support the vision. So maybe you should make a list of the people who are going to participate with creating it, with creating the future and making a success of the project, and bring them into a meeting. I think you should keep things simple. You don't want to create a huge meeting, you don't want to get overly cumbersome, but hold a simple meeting with the core stakeholders and ask them what they think the future looks like. Give them an example, something short and brief that another organization or another project has used as a vision statement that you felt has been successful. And most importantly, ask them to articulate what things look like in the future. It could be in the immediate future, it could be 3 to 5 years from now. Ask things like, what is it that we're doing better than anyone else? How have our clients changed? What will our legacy be? What will we be known for if we successfully achieve this future? Then ask the people in this meeting to break into the small groups, or maybe 2 or 3 people, and ask them to brainstorm headlines or key phrases that you can include in the vision. Once they've got those headlines, have them all feed back to the bigger group and discuss it. When you find something that nobody agrees with or doesn't seem to match with a consensus of what the future looks like, eliminate it. Just get rid of that phrase, no holds barred. And if you find a phrase that you can't get consensus around, you as the facilitator or the leader of this group should make a decision about whether or not it fits into that vision in the future. Once you've finally come up with this short list of phrases, it's your job as a leader to then craft it into that succinct statement that articulates what this vision of the future should be. And remember, we're not looking for a tome here. We're looking for something that's specific and succinct and very quickly communicates what that vision of the future looks like. After you've created that statement, an original statement that you've created from this team meeting, you want to make sure to go back to those participants and all of those stakeholders that you had in that meeting and make sure that they're on board with it. You need to go sell it to them. And so you should really watch out for people where you can indicate that they're lacking the support for the vision, where they say things like, that's never going to work, or I've heard people try that before and it just doesn't work. And when you find these people, ask them how they would change this vision statement, how they would change this vision of the future so that they can get on board, because what you're trying to do is build support as a leader. Once you think that you have accomplished this feedback mechanism so that everyone's on board, find a way to communicate it in a surprising way. Communicate it in a way that gets people energized, and create what ultimately becomes your final statement, so that when people hear it, they instantly know, wow, that's what the future looks like. As a final step, you need to create an elevator speech. You need to be able to, as the leader of this project or this team or your organization, you need to be able to communicate what your vision for the future is in 10 or 15 seconds to almost anyone that you meet. Actually, and these people can be from any walk of life. They could be coworkers, they could be competitors, they could be clients, but they should be able to know, with meeting you within a few seconds, of where you're taking the project or where you're taking the team or the organization in a very clear and definite way. A critical piece of this is that you can't communicate a vision enough. If you're getting sick of telling people what you think the future looks like, that's a good indication that maybe you're starting to get through, and maybe people are starting to understand what the vision is and where they should be heading. And a final step is to make sure that you reward people who are acting in a way that's consistent with the future vision. And what we mean by this is, when you see someone have a specific behavior, or they're starting to communicate with language that articulates that future or is consistent with what that future is, reward them. And make it known that you've rewarded it, so that you're getting more and more buy-in from your team about owning this vision and making it a reality. We hope that this has been helpful for you to create a vision for your team or your project or your organization for the future. Remember, below there is this video transcript as well as a downloadable content that you can take with you and use offline. Also, please take a minute to leave a comment below so that others can learn about how you're creating a vision with your team or your organization, and also help us to improve this section so that it's more valuable to all of our members. Thanks.